My mom's vicious words blamed me for her divorce, tearing me apart, but I stood tall, defied her guilt, and reclaimed my life with truth. You're the reason your father and I couldn't make it work, Max. If you'd been a better son, maybe he wouldn't have left me. My mom's words hit like a knife, twisting in the familiar kitchen where I'd grown up. At 25, standing by the same worn countertop, I felt the weight of her blame for their 23-year marriage crumbling. It wasn't the first time she'd said it, but that day, something in me broke. I wasn't just her son anymore. I was the scapegoat for a divorce I didn't cause. Growing up, we were the kind of family you'd see in a sitcom, on the surface at least. My dad was the steady one, a mechanic who worked long hours but always made it to my soccer games. My mom was the glue, always planning family barbecues, keeping the house warm and welcoming. I was their only kid, and for years I thought we had it all together. But even as a kid, I noticed things, the way my parents' arguments got louder over time, the way my mom's laugh seemed forced when my dad was around, the way they stopped touching each other, even casually. By the time I was in college, those cracks were impossible to ignore. My dad moved out right after I graduated, when I was 22. I'll never forget the day he told me. We were at a diner near my apartment, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Max, this isn't about you," he said, staring at his coffee. "Your mom and we just can't do this anymore." I nodded, trying to act like I understood, but inside, I felt like the ground was crumbling. The divorce was finalized a year later, and that's when things got rough. My mom started calling me all the time, unloading about my dad, how he'd betrayed her, how he'd never appreciated her. First, I tried to be there for her. I'd drive over on weekends, sit with her, listen. But then her venting turned into something else. She started pointing the finger at me. "If you'd helped out more around the house," she'd say, "maybe your dad wouldn't have been so stressed." Or, "You were always his favorite, Max." Did you ever think about how that made me feel? It stung. But I told myself she was just hurting. She didn't mean it. But the more she said it, the harder it was to shrug off. The worst came that day in the kitchen, when she flat out blamed me for the divorce. I felt like I'd been punched, angry, betrayed, and worst of all, guilty. Had I screwed up somehow? Was I the reason they fell apart? Things weren't just bad with my mom, though. There were other problems piling up, making everything feel like a pressure cooker. My mom was falling apart in ways I didn't know how to handle. She'd stopped going to her knitting group, quit her job at the local bakery, and started drinking more than I'd ever seen. I'd show up to check on her and find empty wine bottles tucked in the trash. More than a couple. I tried to talk to her about it once, but she shut me down. "Don't you dare judge me, Max," she snapped. "You have no idea what I'm going through." Then there was my dad. He'd moved on way too quickly. He was dating someone new, a woman named Brenda, who was younger than my mom and worked at his auto shop. Brenda was friendly when I met her, but it felt like a kick to my mom's heart. She'd rant about how my dad had replaced her, and somehow, I got dragged into it. "You're okay with him moving on like that?" she'd ask, her voice sharp. "You're fine with her taking my place?" I wasn't fine, but I didn't know how to say that without starting a fight. On top of all that, I was trying to keep my own life together. I just landed a job as a junior software developer, my first real step into the adult world. It was exciting, but brutal. Long hours, endless coding bugs, and a manager who seemed to thrive on stress. I was also living with my buddy Patrick in a small apartment, which was great until his girlfriend, Stella, broke up with him. Suddenly, our place was a war zone, with Stella swinging by to argue or pick up her stuff. I'd come home exhausted from work or a tense visit with my mom, only to walk into their drama. The hardest part was feeling like I was stuck between my parents. My mom wanted me to be her teammate, to hate my dad as much as she did. My dad acted like everything was normal, inviting me to hang out with him and Brenda like we were some happy new family. I loved them both, but I was caught in the middle, trying to keep everyone happy while my own head was spinning. A few weeks after that kitchen argument, I started noticing how much my mom's words were messing with my head. I'd be at work, staring at my computer screen, but instead of focusing on code, I'd replay her accusations. Was I too focused on Dad growing up? Did I miss something with Mom? The questions gnawed at me, and I started doubting myself in ways I never had before. I'd always thought I was a good son. Maybe not perfect, but good. Now, I wasn't so sure. It was like my mom's blame had cracked open a part of me I didn't know was there, and I didn't know how to put it back together. One day, I ran into my old high school soccer coach, Justin, at the grocery store. He'd always been more than just a coach. He was the kind of guy who'd check in on you, ask how you were really doing. I hadn't seen him in years, but when he asked how I was, something in me spilled out. I told him about the divorce, my mom's blame, how I felt like I was failing everyone. He listened, nodding, and then said something I still think about. Max, sometimes people hurt so bad they lash out at the ones they love most. It's not about you, it's about their pain. You've got to protect your heart, but don't stop loving her. It wasn't a fix, but it was the first time I felt like someone outside my circle really saw what I was carrying. I started thinking more about my parents' marriage, trying to piece together where it went wrong. I remembered little things from when I was younger, how my mom used to plan these big family trips, but my dad would sometimes cancel because of work. She'd act like it was fine, but I'd catch her staring out the kitchen window, her face tight, or how my dad would come home exhausted, and my mom would push him to talk, to be present, and he'd just shut down. I never thought much of it as a kid, but now I wondered if those moments were the start of the distance between them. It made me realize their problems went way deeper than me, but it didn't make my mom's words hurt any less. The apartment I shared with Patrick wasn't exactly a refuge either. Our place was small, with thin walls and a couch that sagged in the middle. Patrick's breakup with Stella was still a mess, and I'd come home to find her stuff scattered around. Her hoodie on the couch, her coffee mug in the sink. It was like living in the aftermath of a storm. One night, I tried talking to Patrick about my mom, but he was so caught up in his own drama that he barely heard me. "Yeah, that sucks, man," he said, scrolling through his phone. I didn't blame him, he was dealing with his own stuff, but it made me feel even more alone, like I was carrying this weight with nowhere to put it down. The breaking point came about 6 months after that kitchen argument. I'd gone to my mom's house to help her clean out the garage, old tools, camping gear, stuff she said she didn't need anymore. We were sorting through boxes when she found an old photo of the three of us at my high school graduation. She held it, her eyes glassy, and then turned to me. "This was when we were a real family," she said, her voice low. "Before you drove us apart." I couldn't take it anymore. "Mom, that's not true," I said, my voice louder than I meant. "I was a kid. I didn't make you and Dad split up. You can't keep saying this." She shook her head, her face hard. "You were always on his side, Max. Always. You'd go work on cars with him, laugh at his dumb jokes. You made me feel like I was nothing." I was shaking, trying not to yell. "That's not fair. I loved you both. I still do. But you're killing me with this." She didn't back down, just kept going, saying I'd been selfish, that I'd never seen how much she sacrificed. I left the house, my chest tight, and drove back to my apartment. That night, I sat with Patrick, spilling everything while he handed me a beer and listened. "Man, that's rough," Patrick said when I was done. "Your mom's wrong, Max. She's hurting, but she can't dump this on you. You've got to draw a line." A line. It sounded so easy, but with my mom, it felt like betraying her. Still, he was right. I couldn't keep letting her words eat me alive. I needed a plan, not just to protect myself, but to try and help her without losing my mind. And I needed to deal with my dad, too, because acting like everything was fine wasn't cutting it. First, I decided to talk to my dad. I asked him to meet me at our old fishing spot by the lake, just the two of us. He showed up, looking a little nervous, and I didn't waste time. "Dad, I'm struggling," I said. "Mom's blaming me for the divorce, and I feel like I'm stuck in the middle. I need you to tell me the truth. What went wrong with you two?" He sighed, tossing a pebble into the water. "Max, it wasn't one thing. Your mom and we stopped talking, stopped trying. I wasn't the best husband, and she wasn't easy to live with either. But I swear, it wasn't about you." Hearing that didn't fix everything, but it loosened the knot in my chest. It gave me the push I needed to face my mom. I called her and asked if we could meet somewhere neutral, like the coffee shop she liked. She agreed, though she sounded guarded. When we sat down, I took a deep breath and let it out. Mom, I love you, but this has to stop. Blaming me for the divorce. It's not fair, and it's hurting me. I want to support you, but I can't if you keep doing this. She didn't say anything at first, just stared at her coffee. Then her voice cracked. I'm sorry, Max. I don't know why I keep saying it. I'm just so lost without him. It wasn't a full fix, but it was something. For the first time, I saw how broken she was. Not just mad, but grieving. I reached across the table and squeezed her hand. We didn't say much after that, but it felt like a small step forward. Over the next few months, I worked on rebuilding things. With my mom, I set clear rules. I'd visit or call regularly, but if she started blaming me, I'd say, Mom, I can't do this, and leave or hang up. It was tough, but it worked. She started catching herself. I also pushed her to get help, gently at first, then more directly. After a while, she started therapy, and I could see her starting to heal bit by bit. With my dad, I was upfront about how his new life made me feel. He didn't end things with Brenda, but he made time for just us, working on an old car together like we used to. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. I leaned on my friends, too. Patrick was a solid listener, always ready with a bad joke to lighten the mood. I also got closer to Dennis, a guy from work who had a knack for making tough days feel lighter. Talking to him, grabbing wings after work, it helped me feel less alone. By my 26th birthday, things were better. Work was going well. I'd gotten a raise, which felt like a big deal. My mom was doing okay. Not great, but better, and we were finding a new way to talk. My dad and I were connecting again, even if it was slow. Most importantly, I wasn't carrying that guilt anymore. I felt like I could breathe, like I was finally standing on solid ground. Looking back, I see how much this taught me. You can love someone and still say no to their pain. Forgiveness isn't about erasing the hurt. It's about choosing to move on without letting it own you. And I'm stronger than I thought, even when the people I love are the ones making it hard. So, I'm in a better spot now, but I'm still learning. What do you think? Did I handle my mom the right way? Should I have done more to help her sooner? And my dad? How do I keep building with him without feeling weird about Brenda? If you've been through this, what worked for you? I'm listening, because I know there's more to figure out.
Thanks for watching. Give it a like, hit subscribe, and come back for more cool stuff.